we'll jump right in with something that several people mentioned during their discussions, and that is mobility. Today, mobility means different things to different people. Some people that means smartphones, and for my own organization, that has historically meant that we use BlackBerries, as I'm sure many of your organizations have. But in a personal world, I've chosen to go and use different devices. In my own personal preference, it's Android. What are your organizations doing to enable this movement that has occurred in the consumer world from a personal device or just a richer device into the business world? I'll start with Bill. You mentioned earlier about what you guys are doing with iOS. What can you share with us about how else your organization is leveraging these new mobile technologies?
Yeah, sure, John. This area of personal choice is certainly one that we've all been wrestling with over the last several months as we try to figure out the best way to allow it in a secure fashion. I mean, this is, as many of you know, a clear balance between the risks we're willing to take in our organization, the kind of intellectual property you have, as well as the ability for people to make their own choices around the devices that they're bringing to the enterprise. And we've taken a balanced approach at this point. And the complexities grow as you're worldwide as well, because we've essentially taken an approach that said, you can bring an iOS device into the enterprise. Your own personal device will allow you to connect it to our environment, primarily to email. We're not on the network. But you have to kind of sign away your life with regards to management capabilities. We have the right to manage it. So we've taken a balanced approach. We continue to sanction other devices coming into the enterprise based on their security profile. The complexities, as I said, increase as you move outside the U.S. So in EMEA, for instance, having someone in Germany give the company rights to their personal phone doesn't work well, simply because of the privacy laws. So the complexities grow, but we generally try to take a balanced approach. Some choice, you can bring your personal device within these parameters, but the company generally manages them so that we can maintain the proper security profile. So we're trying to maintain balance.
Great. Jim, coming from Google, obviously you guys make a number of different operating systems, power tablets, and phones. What do you guys see out there in the world today?
So at Google, we're probably a little different than most organizations, being a provider of a lot of technologies, especially mobile technologies. Google has historically been fairly open with its employees to allow any device for work, and we enforce the same kinds of policies that Bill pointed out. In order for you to use that device on the network, you have to allow Google to apply policies and manage that, so you lose it, it can be wiped and so forth. I would say that specifically for Google, one of the things that's changed over the past couple of years is our primary design environment has changed from the laptop or PC form factor to the mobile form factor. So all of the applications that we are managing and release to our customers, we now look at that little real estate on say, an iPhone or an Android device first, and we try to optimize that user experience, and then go to the bigger form factor from there. And I think you're going to see that trend continue, not just Google, but all software application vendors, because the killer device is no longer a PC. And I travel quite a bit, and I see people on airplanes, and it's rare now that I see somebody pull out a big laptop. It's an iPad, it's a mobile device, and that's how they're interacting with their world. So I think you're going to continue to see that trend with applications and solutions optimized for that mobile experience for all solutions.
And Greg, you mentioned some things in your introduction about mobile as well. Share with us a bit more about how you face the challenges, especially in your world where HIPAA is such a presence when it comes to security.
So I caved in about 2 years ago, and we had been a BlackBerry shop, and that was the only way that I could really control, how we were dealing with mobile devices. But the pressure not only from employees, but the pressure from the folks who do work in our facilities became too overwhelming for us to say, And I think that's just symptomatic of the world we find ourselves in. I don't think we're ever going to be able to control the device anymore. So, a couple of things. To some extent, for me to deploy apps into the hands of my user community, I'm very dependent on my vendor community to develop apps for those mobile devices. We don't write a lot of code within at least my organization. We depend on a third-party vendor community to develop apps for us, whether they're electronic medical record systems or ERP system or whatever. So to some extent, I have to wait until they're ready with their apps before I can deploy them. So what do I do in the meantime? I do, what the best practices are in terms of mobile devices, and that's, you set up parameters and you allow, if somebody wants to connect to your environment, well, here's how you have to do it, and you set up those security parameters. But we're also exploring Citrix as a deployment platform pretty heavily. We're using Citrix Receiver because honestly, Citrix Receiver works on pretty much any device. So if somebody wants to get to their apps, if it's a physician who needs to do work in our hospital, I can deploy the suite of apps that physician typically gets when they're inside of our walls via Citrix, and we're exploring it pretty hard. So, we'll see how that works. And I use that as a stopgap measure until my vendor community releases native apps that can be used on those devices.
Terry, what are your thoughts on this?
So we've had no press about mobility at all lately. So, lost in translation of our announcement was really what the panel was discussing. To keep the speed up and the morphing of the devices and the plethora of devices, no one answer is the right answer. There's a lot of them in different form factors and everything else. It was the reason that our executive team wanted to spin off our PC business was you cannot operate a $130 billion company with the nimbleness and speed that you're going to have to be competitive in that marketplace. But if you can drop it back to 40, give it autonomy, and separate that out, their ability to actually meet the demands of the market, their ability to make quick decisions, their ability to lead that, they don't have to go through the organizational structure of a $130 billion company. We were getting too big to manage that appropriately. So, lost in the announcement was we decided to get out of the touchpad business, if you will, really on economics on that one, but kept the WebOS and are still investigating how to deal with WebOS because we believe that the vehicle is more important than the device, and the device is going to be more fast. So, it's a solid decision to get there. I think it's a market leading number one by a pretty good measure. And what we were trying to accomplish there was swiftness and innovation. And it's hard to do that in a very large 350,000 employees, $130 billion bureaucracy, right?
Maybe just one observation is one, just in talking to my teams, and I'm curious, over the rest of the day, what you guys think, that this space around developing mobile applications feels like the internet did in 1999. It is essentially chaos. Everyone has become an expert in developing mobile apps. I think every one of our marketing firms now is delivering mobile apps, and it feels quite uncontrolled and managed. And we frankly don't even know how to build these things, so they work on multiple devices. The tools, frankly, aren't there yet, nor is the technology. So I just think it's an interesting comparison that in most of these areas, most of these new technology areas, if you look back, there probably was a scenario. I mean, I'm not sure that, frankly, the launch of the tablets is any different than the initial launch of PCs and the chaos that caused in our industry. We probably have dealt with this before. And